Hello everyone, I am Brandon Mickelson, and this is the final iteration of my computer vision controlled robot for the UAT Summer Bytes Coding Challenge of 2019. Now, computer vision is just a way of allowing a computer or machine to process data using images. Now, in the case of my robot, image data comes in via this webcam at the front. It's then passed to a Raspberry Pi where processing happens on the data, and the Raspberry Pi will then generate commands that are sent to this Arduino at the back. The Arduino will then drive the motors based off of the processed image data. Now, computer vision is increasingly becoming an important sensing technology for autonomous systems. A great example would be autonomous vehicles. Companies like Tesla Motors use computer vision in their autonomous vehicles in order to process features in the environment and be able to perform different functions based off of the data taken from the environment. For example, an autonomous vehicle might see a human using computer vision, and based off of that processed data, it's able to perform the required scenarios that are needed for sensing a human. Now, to use my robot is very simple. There's a little switch on the side. You just flip the switch forward, and then you wait for it to boot up. It does take a second for it to boot up. It has to run through the boot up process for the OS that's running on the Raspberry Pi, and then it has to be able to start running all the different pieces of the application. Like serial data needs to be sent to the Arduino to initialize it, and there we go. So now it's able to move around. You can see that it is sensing its environment, and it's able to move based off of that sensed data. So it kind of went forward a little bit too far that time around, but now it is doing pretty well, sensing objects and then moving forward. And that is the robot. So you can see that it's able to sense objects and move away from them for the most part. There's still a little bit of noise in the data that I need to clean up, but that's about it. So yeah, that's the robot. Now I'm going to show you what the robot sees via my GUI application, which is the second half of this project. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started on that. All right, and here is my GUI application for the computer vision robot. So you can see that I have the robot off the ground right now. So its detection of the contours is actually a little bit weird compared to what it would be if it were on the ground. So on the ground, it would actually detect based off of the floor, but because it's raised, it's a little bit different right now. So inside the GUI application, you can see that it's drawing out a red line and a blue line, as well as a red dot. Now the blue line is the contours. Now normally that indicates where the floor is and where the edges of objects are based off the floor. So it will draw out, say if this yellow tub right here was an obstacle, it would detect the line where this object meets the floor and use that as an indicator of how to steer away. Now what the red line is the threshold for turning. So if the red dot, which is the coordinate that it's the coordinate that we can move furthest to in the contour. If that red dot is within that line, then the robot can move forward. If it's off the line, it knows that it needs to turn back until the red dot is back on the line. So for example, if I were to sort of go like that. You can see that the red dot's off the line now. And so if the robot were turning its motors, it would continue to turn its motors until it went back onto the red line. And that is the GUI application. It's just kind of a visual demonstration of what the robot would usually see if it were running. All right, thanks everyone for watching. That is all that I need to show off for this robot.